Red light, get ready, good people. Let me do my Ozo. All systems go. You can hear my weld is. Are you fine now? My weld is ticking away now. Are you fine now? I think I should be fine. Should be fine. Leave the phones. All right, welcome one. Welcome one, welcome all here on your Farmers of Thought main page, where we're discussing African politics, African science, African medicine, African fashion, education, and everything else between. The whole idea is to get the African people talking about their African problems and seeking for those beautiful African solutions. Don't worry about my complexion. My madam was saying I must put more light, but I'll look this way and I'll look that way, but it won't make me any lighter than I already am, except of making me more visible. But thank you very much for coming on board. I will allow our wonderful host by the name of Winnie Madikizela Mandela. Maybe by the name of this session, we'll also get to know what happened to her husband and if she is still married to Nelson, as she always jokes about it. And I would love to welcome all of you, those who are joining us online, those who are joining us in the room here. And thank you very much for sparing some time on this beautiful Mother's Day. These are colonial dates that have been put on our calendar, but for what it is worth, we utilize what we have. If they throw you some lemons, as they say, try and make some lemonades. And we are simply trying to do that. By no ways are we venerating or religious, putting some connotations of religious value to Mother's Day. Mothers are mothers every day. You don't have to wait for one day in a year where you become a mother. So over to you, Winnie. I will take a back seat and I'll also agree to be led by a woman. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bishop, especially for agreeing to be led by a woman. Yeah. And as I always joke about my husband, I keep telling you that I am married to Nelson and Nelson is gone. So I'm just here, trying to push Winnie's mission. But thank you so much for accepting the live and accepting to be with us on this wonderful day, Women's Day celebration, Mother's Day celebrations. And to all the mothers in the continent, all the African mothers out there, we're proud of you, we see you, and thank you for the good job that you do to raise a proper generation that is gonna make our continent proud. And so today we're gonna have a proper discussion about our African women, and I'm pleased to be joined by very serious women in the continent who are gonna help us push this agenda forward, give us a proper history, who we are, and just to keep the conversation going. And so, as we all know, Africans were acculturated to the point of partial assimilation to the Arab and the later Western European culture. And it would be nice and interesting to unearth the African systems that got lost in the process, and this especially in as far as gender systems and prompting questions of what is African gender? Does the concept of gender even exist in the African culture? And since gender is a social construct, we all know that. And then how then did our forefathers construct it before the Muslims and the Christians descended to the continent? Of course, unprovoked and uninvited in this beautiful continent of ours. So it's important to locate the answers to these questions in the period before 642 CE, vis-a-vis before the arrival of the Islamization and Arabization, and before the 15th CE for those African societies which lie outside of colonial Islam, but instead experience colonial Christianity. And so that's why it's important for us to have this discussion to understand who we are. And we have, of course, the experts in here. And so we're just gonna kick off the conversation. And maybe we're gonna have our panelists introduce themselves. We start with Mama Kanyisile Shabalala from South Africa. Please introduce yourself as one of our panelists today for this wonderful session.
Thank you, Winnie. You've already said I'm a mother. My name is Kanyisile. I have two surnames, Litchfield Shabalala, and there is a reason for that. In Nguni culture in South Africa, Nguni is Xhosa, Ndebele, Swati, and Zulu, Xhosa, Ndebele, and Swati. Yes, 4 of them. A woman never changed their surname when they got married. My mother remained Madlamini until the day she went to the grave. She could not be Malichfield. I am Malichfield. I cannot be Mashabalala. My daughter is Mashabalala. So there's a reason in that madness why we have the double barrel surnames in South Africa, especially those who are of Nguni origin. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be discussing the dust of this continent, because that's what the African woman has been reduced to. We are the lowest of creatures. It would be very important to see what we were before we were reduced to the dust that we've been reduced to. So I'm happy to be in this conversation. And thank you for facilitating it, Winnie. And quickly, I agree with Ubabu Joshua Mabongo. We are not venerating this day as being extra special than any other day. It wasn't created by us. We celebrate mothers all year through, all month through. But because it's been commercialized and people are in it, we are maximizing it and coming into their space to say, here's the proper way to look at an African woman.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. We'll have Mama Bikira introduce herself also as one of our panelists. Hello, Gogo. Hello, Mama Bikira.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Usile, Sanbonan. Good morning. Thank you very much, Miss Winnie Mandela and to Gogo. Such an honor to be in the midst of you queens and mothers and teachers of our time. My name is Uketiwe Bikira Wakamdawe, and I'm an Indigenous Knowledge Systems practitioner, a healer, a mother, and one who's very much obsessed about the protection of our land, our indigenous sacred sites, and the spaces which were our churches of aligning what we have come to be, what we have come on earth to govern, especially with the land. So I'm very grateful to come and also represent being a young mother in South Africa, in Mpumalanga. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. And then we'll have our Bishop Maponga introduce himself.
You always get me in trouble. I know it's nice in African spaces, particularly those who are educated, to always put prefixes to names, particularly titles. You know, I'm Maponga, so who are you? What do you do? And this concept of I'm bishop, I'm comrade, I'm doctor, I'm what? I mean, those to me are not as important. What you do is more important than what people call you. So I had thrown away the concept of a bishop quite some time ago for the simple reason that it was causing lots of the Christian space where I was coming from very uncomfortable to see me now beginning to associate myself with indigenous knowledge systems. And I felt it was becoming, it was bringing disrepute to the more standardized formats of thinking. But to say the least, I cannot introduce myself on my page. If you are here and you don't know where you are, then I think you need just to read the background behind there. But I rather call myself farmers of thought. We're in the business of planting and harvesting and nurturing the quality of thinking. While we are doing that, we are also protecting our reproduction, which is the land of generations. We're also protecting the land underneath our feet, which is our inheritance. But most importantly, we're also looking at the land between our ears, which is the real land, with the land of thinking. And I've always said, and I'll always say it again, not give people land underneath their feet if they don't own the land between their ears and have power over the land between their legs. Therefore, those three estates constantly must be visited by every African child. What do you think? What do you reproduce? And where do you position it on the earth so that it can grow? I thank you. Maponga J. Chigaramboko. Garamashamba Huda. Chirel na wana wanji. Makumbe mwana musendi we shanu. Shimwe ziteza sunupigwa na wana manga alipeda ontambana. Sumtambo ruparu wariwa na matanga kugara. Chiramboko sesa rampanongo kubana masha kumagara. I could go on and on, but yeah, that's my totems. I am Tolo, Fakutse, Mfene, the baboon, the watcher, as they call it. Yeah, with the observers of the land. Go home in the morning. It means that the day has started.
Thank you so much,
Wow.
Maponga. Wow, for the great introduction. And so we're gonna kick off our discussion. And as we all know, I always keep saying this, during the liberation struggle, we had our leaders applauding women for the good job, and also comrades like Sankara saying there can never be a true revolution without the involvement of women, and the great work that the women did during the liberation struggle of the continent. And for us, after the liberation struggle, you realize most of the airports, most of the roads, most of the libraries, everything in the continent were named after the men. What happened to the women? Who were the women liberators? And what happened to our history? And why do you think the African women were blotted out of history books? We know a few of them, and even if we know them and the ones we recognize right now, it's because they were wives of or children of, but never their true, association with the struggle and what they did. What happened to our history? So I'll start with Mamukani, maybe to expound on that, and then next we'll have Mama Bikra and Maponga, in that order.
Yeah. I'm excited, Babu Mapongo, to know that even in Zim, Itagazelo are still alive, what you refer to as totem in English, which is not even an equivalent description because the English people don't have it. So we are only even just jack rolling to call it totem, because Itagazelo is much more than that. It's your connection to your ancestors, it's your connection to your history. It is so rich. And Winnie Mandela, I am so sad that you guys have lost this in Kenya, because it is an African thing. It means you had it before and you lost it. Anyway, let me stay in the flow. I think from your question, the first thing I would ask myself is, why the women? Why was it not the men who were blotted out of history books? Why was it the women? It's because in African culture, the woman symbolized by the concept of ugogo is such a centerpiece of everything. It's a centerpiece of, she's the encyclopedia, she's the history, she's the culture, she's the indigenous knowledge system. We'll talk about indigenous healing. Ugogo was the epicenter of everything. And I think that's why when we talk of Kemet, we speak about the concept of Ma'at, who judge the underworld. That's why when we come and pay lobola in Nguni culture, when they stand outside that mtimba, they don't say Babu Mapongo sizolobola. Even if they came to lobola Babu Mapongo's daughter, they say sizolobola gogo. And there could be no gogo in this household. They could have long been deceased, but they know that they are not talking to the living gogo. Even if there is a living gogo, that's not a gogo they are addressing. They are talking to the deceased gogo. So taking out African women from the history books and taking them out from being the centerpiece of life was merely breaking the culture apart and breaking the spirituality apart. That's why if the woman has no culture in the house, you will see the kids also don't have the culture in the house. The men could be acultural, have no culture, but if the woman is cultured, the kids will be cultured. That's why we even call it the mother tongue. They came and they call it the fatherland. I don't know if there's an African country that calls itself the fatherland. Here we call it the motherland, because even the continent is the mother continent. So I think because I'm not the only one on, it's a discussion. I'll leave it with these opening remarks, Winnie, because I'm sure you will keep coming back to the conversation. But yeah, no, it was systemic, it was structural. It was not a mistake to take out the African woman. They knew that was the pillar of the spirituality and the culture and the morality and the ethics.
Wow, thank you so much. And I would like to hear from Mama Bikira. Hello, Gogo, Bikira.
Sawubona.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Thank you so much. For me, I think I just wanted to just bring it closer to what I've been experiencing in the last couple of days in this timeline, looking into how a lot of women that ended up in the diasporas have been wiped out of history. And it says a lot on the different land spells that have been happening on the land, especially in African countries, have always rotated around shutting the women up, because it's through the women's voices, the women who would harm, the women who would sing the songs, the women who would use the powers within their womb, that everything else would be disturbed or would break apart in terms of the plans that the colonist or the colonizer had against creating ways of stealing the land, which in a spiritual form were practical spells that they did. Them learning how the blood of the woman was an important part of
it's Women's Day today, isn't it? Women's International Women's Day. Yeah, I didn't know
yes.
that.
Okay, so the other thing is all of these women that are wiped out of history, and all of these different I can say all the different tests that were done by the scientists, the doctors, and so on, specifically using African women's bodies, were not just an issue of them continuing with their so-called discovery or slavery ways, but it was also to use those very parts of these women to administer the spells that they were up to capture the land, to put the black man down, to harm the child, and to also be able to capture her, the black woman, so they can somehow find themselves strengthening their own DNA. Because at the time, as they know even today, their DNA is weak to the land. It doesn't relate with the sun, with the moon, with the soil. There's a lot of alternative things they have to do to keep themselves alive. So, and another thing I want us to remember in practices like this, or days where we remember women and our roles, our involvement in keeping the code systems of our languages, of our secret indigenous wisdom. When we look at the tribes such as the Ndebele, Amatebele, from all over different African countries, the women who used to paint on the walls of their homes to communicate the times, the seasons, and also the practical solutions that needed to come to the land, to the community. When the men would go away for whatever reason, whether it was for war or for work, and when they came back, they would read the stories of the community and its upkeep through those very paintings, those very codes the women did. So a woman has always been silent, even in the pain of motherhood. These were things that were not unspoken, not because she was suppressed, not to speak of it or not to express her emotions, but because by the time the woman becomes a mother, there's so much wisdom that is transferred to her by all the elements, the sun, the remembering, the memory, which is in our bloodline, in our DNA, the plants, which are also, as women, as mothers, have always been our science, our alchemy. Hence, siyabona imithi eminingi ibizwa ngaboma, umagugu, umathunga, because the medicine itself is harnessed by the female, but mostly the mother. And for us to relearn the sciences that even with our herbal healing practices today, there are certain plants and practices that were done by young girls because of isimo sabo, se innocence. There are certain plants and rituals that were done by only mothers because of having brought or opened up their portals to bring another life into the current world that we're in. And wonke lama codes lawa, we see them in the words. We hear of them. We capture the frequency and the vibration that some of these words still have. The languages that we still that we still have, that remain. And it's also important that as we try to rectify the crimes that were done to our foremothers through ideologies that they went through, slavery, apartheid, colonialism, that prevented the proper transfer from ugogo to umama to the young girl. The teachings of her blood, the teachings of her time when her cycles now come and connect with the rising of the moon, have to be taught again, because for our young girls, so much confusion is happening from a spiritual level, from a mental state, also from what they're obviously being indoctrinated by in the entertainment industry. But once they get to be taught from these sensitive issues, especially when the girl comes to her menstrual cycle, that it is time for her to go back to the certain rites of passages, so she can understand what she's becoming, and the fact that whether she likes it or not, she's already chosen to bring life. And that is a major role for the woman entering into motherhood. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for the great insights. And speaking of the menstrual cycle, Maponga, you are doing a book on the beads. And the last time we met in Nairobi, you were trying to explain the role and use of beads and how we used the beads to get to know our reproductive system. Maybe on top of keeping on what we're discussing, you could also expound on the beads.
And again, thank you very much for that question. And I'm so happy that we have women on the table, reputable women who will know exactly what I'm talking about. The whole idea of making beads was the role that women did. And someone was arguing, oh, beads are a new thing. They're coming from India, from China. This is the modernizing. We used to use bones. Like this particular one I'm holding in my hand is actually made out of stones. These are, all of them are stones, as it were. You know, you can even hear the sound. It's made from stones. So we used to use seeds. We used to use bones. We used to use shells from the sea, and wood also would become in handy. But the woman then became the center of knowledge because she had mastered the art of writing the knowledge into pieces of art. Therefore, I've always said, and I will say it again, that arts and crafts are the libraries of our ancestors, where codes and information, as Gogo Bikira is saying it, codes and information were actually captured and put into beadwork form. If you look at the work piece that is behind Dr. Shabalala there, you see the blacks, the yellows, the greens, those diamonds that you see there shapes of the pyramids. There is architecture right there, how our houses must be designed. And there's already a menu diet there, how we must eat, what foods are black, what foods are white, what foods are yellow, what foods are red and blue and green and etc. So it's literally in a piece of art like that. You have access into the bush. When you are collecting the herbs in the bush, the colors of the herbs in the bush are linked up to the colors of the rainbow and the colors that we find on a trapezium. They're also linked up to the colors of the members of the body that you have. The heart being for the reds, the bloods, and etc. The green being for the gut, where you put in your green foods, and the blues and purples being for the mind, and etc. The white being, so you don't just look at my hat here and think that it is just a piece of a hat. No, this is actually a total coded language which speaks to nature, which speaks to diet, which speaks to fashion, which speaks to dancing, which speaks to spirituality, the circles that you see there, the colors of those circles that you see there, the cardinal points that you see there in terms of the placement of the map itself, so that women were responsible for making all these things. But coming to the question that you're asking me about the beadwork, for example, women became a center of knowledge, as Dr. Shabalala has said. And yes, the book is coming up, and I think when it's ready, we might drop a comment or two to Dr. Shabalala to give us a foreword of that piece of work. It will be a mammoth piece of work that I have embarked on. But basically, we're looking at women being able to download the information of the cosmos to their headbands and their headgears. You look at what Gogo Shabalala is putting on those shells. No, that's deep. That's knowledge of the world, of the underworld, the knowledge of water, the knowledge of the sea. To the cosmos, they put around their ears, those big earrings, as if they're supposed to be hearing, big things. And these are satellite dishes that are positioned on the sides of their ears to collect information from the global space. You look at the round necklace on their necks, as if their voices, what they are speaking, must be punctuated by their knowledge of the waters, what they are hearing, and now here they are. They're going to be speaking it out. The beads around their hands, again, as they're using their hands, the way you are handling yourself, you are not in a small space, but understand the global space. And finally, when you come to the beads around the waistline, the most sacred of them all, now you are on the deep end. You have the cycles of the moon around your waistline. You have your ancestral knowledge lineages, your father's side, your mother's side, your grandfather on your mother's side, and grandfather on your father's side, the four cardinals, the north, the east, the south, and the west. And the days of the week are punctuated into the 4 weeks with different colors. What do you eat? What do you drink when you are here? So we're going to get into this. This book is a must-have for all the women in the 21st century to revisit this library. And maybe if a woman does not understand herself, and these beads were not done by her, they were done by the aunt and the grandmother of the family, so that the information that they were passing on to the young girl is actually ancestral, generational information. So that by the time a child is coming out between your legs, is the mother aware of what is around her waistline? Does she know her diet? Does she know her cycle? Does she know her diet? Does she know her cosmology? And these modern women, I call them the oops women, the oops women. I missed my periods. Oops, oops. What happened to you knowing exactly when am I white, when am I green, when am I orange? Let me not be desecrating. I think Gogo Shabalala, you can pick it from there.
Thokoza Baba. Yeah, that is really some wealth of knowledge. Noma Mukhethiwe. I think as I was listening to the two of you, I'm just marveling at the beauty of our ancestral knowledge, because Winnie, you know, my junior degrees were drama in politics. And the first thing they teach you in African drama, which is different from European drama, is that there's no spectator and there's no performer. The audience and the performer merge and become one. When that band sings on stage, we stand up and we sing along. We even climb the stage and they give us the mic to sing with them. In the European one, you must sit and watch. If you stand up, you even hear white people tell you, shh, sit down. You know, we can't see. There's a spectator and a performer. So what I like from what Umam Ketiwe and Bob Maponga has said is I've learned so much myself. It's such, which is the beauty and the journey of our ancestors, is there's no repository of knowledge. There isn't this one person, the bishop, the pope, the pastor that knows it all, and all of you are spectators. It's such a journey of continuous learning from birth to grave. We are continuously learning. To touch on what the two of them have said, it's such a long journey to go back to who we were, African people, because sadly that journey relies on the woman, the African woman, as Umam Ketiwe said and as Baba said. Now, I said we've been reduced to dust. We are the dust of the dust. Why have I said that? Because anthropology argues there are only 3 races on earth. You have the Mongoloid race, that's the yellow people. That's where the bastardization of kids who were born with abnormality, squinted eyes, were called Mongols. That's where they take it from. And then you have us, the Negroid race. That's where the bastardization of the word nigger, Negro also came from. We have the Caucasian race, that's white. If you put these 3 races on the map right now, per the 2 biological sexes, male and woman, you will see that the African woman is really at the bottommost ladder. Everybody walks on us. That's what we've been reduced to. As I said before, that was systemic, because that's the woman of the 3 races that really was empowered. I don't want to say power, because we were not about gender power relations. We were about gender relations. Society and our spirituality really empowered us, because in our spirituality, we don't have a God, we have an originator. Now, originators' genders are not disclosed. AmaZulu today say Umvelingang is a male, and I always ask them, how do you know? Because we never painted them, we never carved them, we don't have a Bible. So who told you that they were males? Other than that, you converted to being Catholics, Anglicans. I think the Zulu royal family is predominantly Anglican. You converted and they taught you there that God is a man, and then we are catapulting it to say Mvelingang is a man, because we need. In Zulu, I say Umaponga, but I also say Uwini. There is no she, he, he, his, hers. You know, it's called gender grammar. So when I say Umvelingang, it does not predispose that it's a male or a female. And the beauty, though, is after the originator of deities, deities are disclosed. We know them. Like uNomkhubulwane is one big deity in Zulu cosmology. uNomkhubulwane is a deity of fertility, of virginity that Umam Ketiwe was talking about, of first rains. That's why Umkhosi, or the celebration, is in September, because it speaks of the first rain. Now we're going to enter the planting season. We need the virgins with their purity, you know, to dance on the land, to make this soil ready. We pour libations to this soil to make it ready to give us harvest. So it's gonna take us so long to go back to that purity, because we've been made to be such dust African women that we are perpetuating our own dust status right now. As Baba Maponga was saying, the oops women. We've been taught so much that we are nothing, that we lost our place, that we are even competing with the men in the household to teach the kids culture. It is not the men's role to teach your children culture. It is the woman's role, not because it's a punishment, but because it was understood that you are a procreator. That's what African spirituality called us. Because we can give birth. Mam Ketiwe explained this. Because we could give birth and bring life, which men cannot do. We were called procreators. And that role elevated us instantly to being sacred people. That's why only us could till the land, because if a man touches the land, it will go barren. The Arabs were the first to come in 639, cemented their presence by 476. They changed it. They are the first to introduce the cash crop. They took the women to the back, put the men in front, put the men on the fields, and the African soil has been getting barren and barren by year. We that were called the land of the rivers, of honey, of milk, of the cow, of vegetation, we are becoming so barren. The Sahara Desert is encroaching on us by day because we have taken women out from being tillers of the land. We've taken the procreator. We've taken the virginity out of the land, and we have put the man in charge of the land. So as I was listening to the two of them, it just struck me that it's a long way home, Winnie. We have a long way to go. And in that long way, it is the women we need to liberate first. If the woman is liberated and they know their place as the culture bearer, as the sacred one, as the spiritual one, we are going to get somewhere. That's why you see, whenever they attacked us, and the Asantewa story stands out, I hope we will talk about Neanda before we end this show, Winnie. You know, whenever they attacked us, it is the woman they hated the most because they knew if we take her out, we've taken the altar out. Remember, we didn't have a church. We had a home altar. And from the home altar, we had the national altar, which was kept by Indlovukazi. If you look at Eswatini today, she is above the queen. Indlovukazi in English simply is translated as she-elephant, which for me is so different from Queen Mother. Queen Mother is very biological. You just gave birth to a king. She-elephant means you have the power. So that's why her photo is above. Not because she has physical power, but because she has the spiritual power. And no empire in Africa or state was run without the spiritual element of it. So the mother, the she-elephant, brought that spiritual element. So they knew if they take the woman out, as I keep saying, they are dismantling the whole infrastructure or the whole superstructure or the whole fabric of society. So if we are going to get to where Umam Ketiwe and Baba Mabonga are telling us about, we need to make the African women understand who they were before they were reduced to the dust that they are today. I think I'll leave it at that for now.
Wow.
Thank you so much. And on that note, we need to make the African woman understand who they are. You know, the current discussions on feminism and gender equality, those are the current debates we are having in the continent right now. Does it mean that, did we have gender equality before? And what is gender equality in the African context? And we all know about economic liberation, where we talk now, we are having discussions of liberating the African woman economically. Was the African woman liberated economically? What were her roles and her powers and all these things? Because now it looks like they were not liberated, they were just dust. And it's now that we are trying to revive the African woman's in economics, in spirituality, and all these things. What was the African woman? Was she liberated economically? Was she in control of economics? And how was the economic space for the African woman? I'll start with Mama Bikira.
Thank you, Gogo. Again, very, very key and important question that we should continuously ask ourselves, especially ekhaya, within the household. Ubaba abuze ukuthi, what is the role of umama? What is the role of intombazane la ekhaya? Because it's through this that we restructure the economics of the home. Because umama, the woman, again, there's always distinct roles for her. It's almost instinctual, even for the man, even for the child or the baby that she carries and brings into the earth. The child, when the child is born and he or she is breastfeeding, the only protective source that the child sees is the mother. Agaboni ubaba security or abo butwake or basiswake, because that which she feeds him or her is protective in all ways, from his anatomy, the growth of his body, his or her nutrition, his or her thinking, even the touch, the skin of the woman at the time that the baby is, always on her. That is also like a knowledge source which the baby starts feeling from the texture and understanding what a human being is. So the role of a woman, and I said earlier that a lot of the things that mothers or women carry within themselves that they have to remember is mostly in silence. It's a silent, humble existence, because you know, just looking at our womb, we call the womb or isibeleto a very dark place, ebumnyameni, the dark womb. Just as when you were in your mother's placenta, you were in a dark place, but in that dark place you would see. These were places where you would interact with the different realms. These were places where you would be incubated or initiated into a new era or a new time or a new incarnation that you're coming into. So these discussions, as you're saying, that I would love that possibly they would start on the table, in the breakfast or dinner table ekhaya, at home, or in the stoops, or ngaphandle, under the trees, is to revisit the role from the governance of the home, from even the looking after the matters around the home, which is the community. It's through the woman's interpretation of certain things that come as situations or problems that we'd have a fuller understanding as all the other members of the family. Because women would take things in bavume, would always be okay, agree, and start to process and conceptualize what is really happening, because our mission is always peacekeeping. You want to remain at the most peaceful state. You want to make sure that everybody else remains calm and in understanding of what is really happening, the in-depth. We are spies, we are researchers by nature. The concept of women adopting to fallen states like gossiping, for an instance, which is a big problem now in sisterhood structures, in the workplace, in the families, between sisters and in-laws and all of that. It's a very, very it's one of those things we have to accept as a fallen state, where we are now following those same brainwash indoctrinations that taught us to hate ourselves, because we see so much of each other. We cannot accept each other's power for some reason. And these are the things that we have to discard from ourselves first, our own self-healing and shadow work as women. So when we look at the different structures, again, the governance, the economics, the health and wellness, which also includes nutrition in the home, and as well as in terms of work, the tilling of the ground, the producing of food, we find that women actually had a higher role, the role of almost project manager in all these spaces, even though at some point in the beginning, she has to be the one who uses her hand, the touch. She would start with the planting, the putting of the seed on the ground. She would start with the actual preparing of the food before she hands it over to the girl child or the boy child to cook. She would start with preparing of the clothes and cleaning the house, or ukushanyela ngaphandle in the morning, where axosha izindaba zayizolo, to bring in the new new auras that the universe comes with in the morning. So I don't see anything that ever existed in the structures that we created ourselves as men, as human beings, that never actually involved the woman as the foundation, as the beginning, as the teacher, as the guide and the director. And silogo siyachubeka namanje, whether we accept it or not, sihlala sibiza abogogo, yonke into we relate it to ugogo, because it's also like this, we are carrying, or ugogo usually uwe othwele, othwala wonke umuntu, othwala yonke into, which again is teaching us of where and who we were and why we were the people, the important part of all these different structures.
Wow. Thank you so much. And now we'll hear from Maponga, and I'd request Maponga to also expound more on the kraal and on land and the kraal in relation to the women, ownership of land and closeness to the land, and why our marriage ceremonies were usually at the kraal.
I'll be naughty a little bit. I'll go on the crawl, Isibaya, but before I go there, I would love to hear a response also from Dr. Susan Tata. She's on the line with us. She's in Germany, running the Pan-African Daily TV. She's always asking people questions. And today we also have her here. I think I'll give her a 2-3 minute trotter, then I'll come back to respond on Isibaya while she's unmuting herself and making herself visible there, Dr. Susan Tata. You would want to hear, I would love to hear your response also, Doctor, on the subject at hand.
Thank you. Can everybody
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
We can't see you though.
Oh, okay.
There's a
Let me
button
see.
somewhere. There's a button somewhere there. If you press it, it will.
Let me see if you can see me. I'm so sorry. Can you see me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you can see me, right?
Yeah.
We can see
Okay.
you.
I want to thank. Okay. I am sorry I was a little bit late because when I looked at the time difference, actually I'm on the continent. I'm in Cameroon, my native land, and I looked at the time difference. I thought that it was an hour earlier. So I came in a little bit late, but I came in exactly when King Maponga and Dr. were analyzing the topic. So I want to first of all thank you for putting up this marvelous show. And I had to rush it. I just put on because I was not really. I got the notification very late, just about 5 minutes ago, and I decided to rush and join the show. The topic is a very interesting one. I want to thank every listener, everybody that is the moderator and the contributors. Honestly, I never thought today was Mother's Day. I don't know for whatever reason, because for me, every day is Mother's Day. When I saw King Maponga push this invitation, I was very honored to be a part. The topic is what I'm actually writing my biography on. And this morning I touched exactly on the points that we're talking about, the role of the women and how growing up in the rural African village is set up and how they came about to even, put all those structures was because of the crown of the elephant energy, which is the she queen. Now they call us she and he or whatever, but in African spirituality there was no sex, like there was no gender that was aligned to us, as we all know. We heard from our great grandmothers. They relate everything to us. That's why even in Cameroon we said Mbunguia, Munguia. Munguia means our gods. And these our gods could relate to our rivers, to our mountains, to our boundaries, to our hills, to our fields, to our mountains. And like the Queen Mother, first of all, Doctor said, our altars were actually in the homes. We never knew anything like churches or Bibles that we could read some text to orientate. So I'm very happy that I'm just touching ground, and the knowledge that you're pouring here is actually going to help me to push forward or to justify part of my biography, because I grew up in the village and was raised by exactly this energy. And when we go out or we're in Germany, in the West, and we hear another description, another narrative about us, it is shocking, but it's also confusing to Africans, or particularly us that is not conscious. We're mixed up. And so today we name ourselves baby mamas, slay queens, and all such kind of, I don't know. So I'm very happy that the knowledge that you're putting out here is going to expatiate my justification on my biography that I'm writing, growing up in the village and going through all this essence of what it takes to be a queen. It takes to be a mother, the mother mind, like Baba Credo said, you know, the mother mind of the woman, and the role that I saw, and I interviewed great-grand from main elders to the women, and everything is just aligned with what you are saying. And remember, we're all from the Abantu, from the Bantu kingdoms, from the south to the west to the east, and stuff like that. So I'm very honored and I'm thankful to have been given the voice. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful, wonderful input. And we look forward to your biography, you know, and to read more. You could also share with us more, and for these conversations to keep going, you know, because we need, I always say, we're just a group of few Pan-Africanists who understand these ideas. And it's important for us to make sure the knowledge gets to reach as many Africans as possible if we are to push the liberation struggle. And I'm so pleased for you to join us here, and we look forward to having these conversations even more as we continue with this struggle. Thank you so very much for the input.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say one more thing. We have to expand. We have to expand, because you in South Africa or in the Saudi kingdoms are way advanced. In the West, it is topics like this don't even feature. That's even the reason why I'm expanding the Pan-African Daily TV on the continent. I already started the King Maponga group, because the knowledge, the deep knowledge that you, the queens of the South, are bringing is going to actually revolutionize the Western woman. The Western woman is still so civilized in his ways of the colonial enslavers, like, you know, they still align themselves to French culture or to English, British culture, or to the German culture, who were actually the culture of the colonizers. So topics like this, you don't hear it in Cameroon, for instance. They just don't hear it. So I think the network is actually going to expand, and so that we can actually raise the awakening and the consciousness of the women in the West and in other parts of the world. So I really would be happy, and I'll start streaming also live on the continent here in Cameroon. We can still make this a topic, if you would permit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You are permitted to have, we have all the time for the discussion. So you're permitted to have us, to have Mam Kani, to have all of us on board for the conversations, because the African child must hear the authenticity of the history, and we must keep the liberation struggle alive if we are to unite and change our continent. So yeah, thank you so very much for the input once again. And so, speaking of your biography, I think I'll also now go to Mam Kani, deconstructing gender in African spirituality.
I was not done. I was not done with the crawl. You're jumping. I deliberately given over my chance to allow Dr. Susan Tata to chip in. And since we are such a good group of people, particularly I want to say a sober group of women on this platform, I would suggest that maybe if it allows, we start. This becomes number one, but maybe once every month, we could actually maybe set ourselves topics, and we allow this to have a life of its own as a center where we can plug in. But I'll suggest that the four of you ladies, you can meet outside of the meeting and structure it in such a way that we start from here, but as we grow, we can incorporate other women until we can actually have an authentic group of African women who are beginning to say another voice, because the slave queens are louder out there, and the real women are much more silent. And we want maybe to bring up that balance. I just thought I'd mention that. In the back of my head, it was whispered that maybe we need to create that. Having said that, I would want to come back to the crawl, the round crawl, where the cattle and would sleep here in the crawl. And this is the center of wealth for the family. And this is I'm speaking much more in the South. This is the place where the cattle sleep. This is the place where manure is found to feed the kraal. This is where the grand patriarch of the family is buried to protect the kraal. This is where the cattle are collected from to go and marry a woman out there or pay for a crime that has been done out there. This is the place where a girl who is being brought from another family does not come to sit in the house before she has come and gone into the kraal. And it is in the kraal that she is birthed. Because when she's coming from her home, she loses her name, as it were, but not her totem, but she loses her name. Ukhethiwe usenikezwa igama Elisha. Hayi isibongo, unikezwa igama Elisha. We're bringing you in, you are birthed here. Therefore, there are two types of women you find in the family. Woman number one is the one who is born from the kitchen. Woman number two is the one who is born from the kraal. And the one who is born from the kraal is a gift from the ancestors, as it were. She comes in here as a young girl amongst us. She becomes a mother amongst us. She grows with us. She collects all the history amongst us. She finally sits somewhere on the corner there as the grand matriarch, who becomes the gogo of the family. And by becoming the gogo, look at this. She is not one with us, but she is the one who has birthed all of us and knows everything about us. Hence, when you talk about the kraal, which is outside of the family in some Southern African kingdoms, but in the Nguni one, it will be the center of the homestead. That's where Isibaya is situated. Inside her house, she now has what we call umsamo, which is her private sanctuary. In fact, if I would be able to teach this properly, I would want to submit that the grandmother's big round kitchen is the first church. Like literally using the word church in the way in which we now use church, in terms of people running to church and etc. In Gogo, the grandmother's round navel, where the fire in that house never dies. Everybody else comes to this house to collect the fire, to light up their fires in their small little huts. When there is a sickness, it is here we get healed. When there are squabbles and misunderstandings, it is here we come to the mediator. When there is a problem in the family, it is here we come and submit the issues. When there is a crime that the family has committed, it is here. Ugogo became the high priest. I'm sorry, in Southern African, proper African cultural spaces, men have never been spiritual. Men's hands are full of blood. You're killing animals every day. You're killing each other every day. You are running everywhere. There's nothing clean about a man. Even the concept of men becoming sangomas and etc. It's a. Then you hear them coming as a man. I'm Gogo. I'm Gogo, but he's male. But the spirit on him apparently is a grandmother spirit. Then the whole man is trying to double up as Gogo. But indigenously speaking, the Gogo became the high priest. The Gogo became the mediator of the family. The Gogo became the hospital. I was born in my grandmother's roundabout. That's why I'm able to say this, behind the kitchen door. Some of you have seen me going back to my mother's village, and before I could do anything else, I rebuilt that kitchen exactly where it was. And once in a while, I go back and sleep right there where I was born. It does something, because this was my landing strip. She was a Gogo. She was a mother. She was a judge. She was a priest. She was the doctor. She was the architect. When you want to build your house, Ugogo will have to come there, take a peg, and move to where you are going to build your house. And she takes a peg and hits on the ground. Atumtanam, you can build your house here. She was the foundation, the architect. She was the storeroom of knowledge, storeroom of plants and seeds. Before you start harvesting in the fields, Ugogo would send me and my cousins, please run through the whole field, find the big ones, the big corns, find the big round nuts, find the big ground nuts, find all the choicest things, would harvest those and put them in the dish and come and give them to Ugogo. Ugogo then will preserve them as seeds. So that come the next season, when people want to go and plant, they will have to come to our Seedco, come to our Monsanto, come to our seed bank, because Ugogo had the choicest. Even when it comes to distributing of meat after we've killed whatever we've killed, Ugogo will be the one who distributes. When men come from hunting, they will bring everything to Ugogo, then Ugogo will cut pieces. Who takes what? Grandchildren don't eat this. Young boys, don't give them too much of this. They will mature quickly. Young girls, they must not eat too much of the eggs. They will start ovulating quicker. And so the grandmother's kitchen was a warehouse of information. The smoke inside her kitchen was actually the medicine we use for healing our cows and etc. And man, I could go on and on. If I start talking about Ugogo, I will not finish. The tools for working around the house, the grinding stones, the things from making our meals, the stitching of clothes, and what Ugogo is a full factory. In fact, in closing, any woman who wants to become like a man is demoting herself.
Yes.
If you see yourself as a woman trying to compete with the men, you have lost it altogether. Go home and quit life.
Absolutely.
The calling of womanhood can never be higher than that. When women are asking men to help them do their task, they are asking us to rebreed a cruel, coarse kind of a species. Every human being needs to go through the hands of a woman first, so that you can learn empathy, you can learn love, you can learn I am sorry, you can learn how to, imagine Ugogo healing our eyes. Someone does not have eyes, bring the young boy, clean no pee in his eyes. You know what? The girl is on a pepper, go to the crawl, take some cow dung, mix it with this and this. So there was a grand relationship between the crawl and the grandmother's Msamo, which was a big round of them, from where men would sit on the left and women would sit on the right. And Ugogo would be right next to the Itala on the front side. That's right there, the high priest. And on the top of her kitchen there, that's where Itala was, where all the plants and food and crops that were being preserved in the smoke of the kitchen so that they would not be eaten by termites and what and what. It's serious technology and science, and I look at this information and I almost sweat and I hear chills on my back. That how could we lose all this for some four-cornered house full of plaster and paints, and then we lose such a library of information? And it's all up to you as women, because you are the ones who tell your husbands where you want to stay. I also want a house in Nairobi. I also want my what? Even if you want a house in Nairobi, I want to challenge you. Ask your husband to build you that round of them. Just even if you're not going to use it, just to preserve the information. And sit there once in a while, call your children, call your grandchildren, and sit them there and let them experience the true energy of womanhood. I could go on, but for now, let me stop there.
Wow. 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 Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, that was quite a piece. Yeah. Thank you. And now we will move to deconstructing gender in African spirituality. And Mama Kanyisile, you've done a book on the untold story of African warrior women. Maybe if you could take us through, who are these African warrior women, and how do you deconstruct gender in the African spirituality context? Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you, Winnie. I'm sorry. I was unmuting and making sure the people in the house understand that I'm unmuting now. Winnie, I think just to tap on quickly on what Ubab Maponga and Umam Ketiwe said before we get to the book. The concept of intombazana, because that's where you start a girl. the concept of intombi, you are now a young adult. The concept of umama, the concept of ugogo, they are all concepts that each have their own philosophy. They each have their own grounding. They each have their own psychology. They each have their own spiritual task and spiritual meaning. So honestly, I think I agree, Nobaba Mapongo. We are not going to finish this in one setting. Perhaps we need to make this ongoing once a month, as he says. I fully agree. But I'm also grateful to ancestors because I have tried, as I say, this is a lot of knowledge, to put it in a book. Took me 4 years to write that book. I think what led to me calling it, or to the ancestors actually, because it's not my knowledge, calling it Ubulungisa, deconstructing gender in African spirituality. Ubulungisa is a word I love. It's in Nguni. It's in Xhosa, Zulu, Ndebele, and Swati. There's no English equivalent. The nearest you can get to is the word justice. But we know there's no justice in justice, in neocolonialism and in capitalism. Because whoever affords the top lawyer will be found not guilty, even if they are guilty. Whoever cannot afford the top lawyer will be found guilty, even if they are not guilty. So that's why I don't like to say Ubulungisa is justice, but it's the nearest we can come to. But Ubulungisa, where it's taken from in the Nguni languages, is a constant act of balancing and rebalancing. You know, when they say in science, nature allows no vacuum, we understood that. Ubaba Mabongo is right. We're such scientific people. We understood that in the process of human relations, marked by the two biological sexes, men and women, because gender is a social construct, we can come to it. There is going to be imbalances from time to time. So Ubulungisa was a constant act of balancing, making sure. So the originator, for instance, if the originator is disclosed to be a male, you'll find that immediately under them, the deity is a female, and that deity is not of lower status than the originator. And where the originators are not disclosed, you'll find that the deities and the ancestors are both male and female. Constant act of fixing and balancing. You'll find that they say, as Baba Mapongo said, men go to war, they kill, they have blood in their hands. But when they come back, constant act of balancing. They would have gone to that war to protect our community, which was under attack by another community. But still, killing is killing. When they come back, it is the women who must prepare the herbs, make sure we cleanse from the swords first, or from the battle axes, whatever it is we were using. They don't come into the community, by the way. They have a holding place where the implements themselves of war and the instruments of war will be cleansed. Then they will be cleansed. Then we're going to cleanse the people who didn't go to war. Their families who were standing in the gap at them, some at the home altar, interceding for them. They are already in their spirit part of that war. We cleanse them first. So before there's this reunification, there's so much cleansing. It is the woman that will do it. That is Ubulungisa. We did not allow any vacuum of cruelty, of power, of fighting for power, of everything was a constant act of balancing. And then deconstructing gender in African spirituality. I was speaking when we launched the book drive on Friday, the first marketing drive, that in African spirituality, in fact, let me borrow the word belief system. Although we know that belief itself is a bastardized word to apply to African spirituality, because you believe because you don't have knowledge. I didn't sit on this chair today believing it will hold me. I just sat because I've sat on it before. I have knowledge of a chair. So I don't believe the chair will hold me. I know it will. So, but for looking for another way would complicate us in the time that we have. So let's use that bastardized word belief system. Gender relations always come from a belief system without fail. In Christianity, the God is a man, Jesus is a man, the angels are men, the first disciples were men, the mother of all churches, the Catholic Church, only priests can be men. So there is no way Christianity would have ordered any other gender relations other than the gender relations that say the man is the head of the house, the woman must learn in silence, the woman has no authority over the man. it is in the belief system. You look at Islam, the same. You look at Hinduism, you will see the other deities are female. So I always also ask the question, how did they become patriarchal in a way? Not as bad as us, but also for them, because they're former British colonies. So Christianity touched the soil, Islam also touched the soil. So when I said the ancestors are saying deconstructing gender and African spirituality, they are bringing us back to the fact that there is no way African spirituality, Cape to Cairo, Morocco to Madagascar, Nigeria to Namibia, there is no way our spirituality could have ordered patriarchy, because there is nowhere in our spirituality where genders don't come forth together. I don't care which one you look at. Ask Baba Mapong about the Ndebele one. Ask Oladele is here about the Yoruba one. Ask me about the Nguni one. Ask whoever is here. The Zulu people, for instance, believe they came forth from the reeds, but they came together, both genders, same time. That's why the reed dance is such an important centerpiece of that culture, as espoused by Unomkhulu and the deity. There is no way, I don't care how that cosmology is, because for us, we use cosmology, not creation. Cosmology is how the people come into being. You will see that they come into being together. So there is no way, and we don't have an originator that went and pronounced this gender is better than this one. If you look at the Kikuyu people, you'll see if there are 12 genders that come, others are put that side, others are put that side, but there'll come a point where they realize I'm incomplete, I need the other gender. Then the originator will say, go meet each other. So that process of equality is there, equilibrium actually, because equality is also such a bastardized word now. The process of Bulungisa, equilibrium. So that's what the book contains. And then it has a subtitle saying the untold stories of African warrior women. I've always been bothered by the position of the African woman, especially because there are traces that keep screaming out at you. And those traces, for instance, are, if you look at the subsistence economy in Africa, women still hold it. It tells you, it means we did hold agriculture. If you look at the markets in Africa, women 99% hold the markets. So those traces, I always ask myself, but how did it come? Because sociologically, things don't just happen. So it must have a history. And then I came to look at what we call Africa BCE. We need Christians say before Christ, people who are not saved before the common era. I had to go there to say, what was an African woman before the African woman was reduced to the dust that they are? So I wanted to see the African woman before the Arabs came in 639 CE, Christians say AD, Anno Domini. I wanted to look at us before 1400 Christianity came. I wanted to look at us in BCE, and I was shocked what I found, because in that book, the question that I asked was, what was the public office occupied by the African women before they were removed? You'll be spoiled for choice. Various offices are there. You have the Indlovukazi, what the English call the Queen Mother, which is a concept and a sociology of its own. Yeah, Asantewa, for instance, was a Queen Mother, led men to war, saved the Ashanti national, the objects of the national altar from being captured by the British. You have the warrior queen, who were queens because they were queens, they ruled their land, but they still led their men to war. They didn't do like our president, say I'm the commander-in-chief, but when war breaks out, they sit in the office. That's the warrior queen, they led the men to war. You had the regnant queen, who they were queens because they were queens, didn't lead anyone to war, but they led politically. You had the spiritist, Nehanda, for instance, was a spiritist. You had women who started towns. You have Yenenga, for instance, who started the Mosi people, the biggest ethnicity in Burkina Faso today, was started by women from scratch. The language, the culture, the people. That's why if you go to Burkina Faso, they have a hair on a stallion as a big statue in Ouagadougou, because they understand she's the originator of the Mosi people. So in the book then, each chapter takes a different office that an African woman occupied. And I try to look for examples, North, East, South, and West, so that they don't say, oh, the warrior woman was a West African thing only. Oh, no, it was a Southern African thing only. So I've tried to get examples for each chapter, women from each region. And then there's a special chapter so that I can give other people or allow for response. There's a special chapter there called the chapter on Afrogender. But Mapongo, when people say to me, are you a feminist? I never know how to answer. There's a sear that comes on my throat. I swallow my saliva. I don't know what to say because feminism is a Western concept. It is a philosophical Western concept. That's why it espouses equality. It actually sometimes even borders on revenge equality. We will take over and show you, revenge for all the things you've done to us. I always say we are fighting for the total liberation of our culture. If our culture is totally liberated from the clasp of neoliberalism, of capitalism, we are done. Because in our culture, the equilibrium is there. So if we restore our culture to what it was philosophically and spiritually, we don't need to fight for any equality because it is in the culture. It is there. AmaZulu don't call themselves Isizwe sika Shaka, the nation of Shaka. Even if it is Shaka that put them on the map. No, they call themselves Isizwe sika Mtania, the nation of Mtania. Mtania is a woman. Mtania is a totem for Sibia because Sibia is the one that gave birth to Senzangakona. She's the one that restored the air because they were airless. And when you say these people say, oh, that's patriarchy, no, that's patrilineality. The two are not the same. You see why we can't do this in one session. We also need to have a topic that just says difference between patriarchy and patrilineality. So when Umama Mkabayi's mother died and didn't leave a son, only left girls, Mkabayi is a twin, Umama and the other girl, there was no one to take the throne. And Mkabayi is the one that went, women, and we say women, now we say Zulu people are patriarchal. A woman went and took a wife for the king, his father, Masibia Mtania. She went to the altar that Ubabu Mapongo talked about and spoke to the ancestors to say we need an heir. And through her first pregnancy, produced Senzangakona. The king even said, Mkabayi wenzengakona, you've done well. That's why Shaga's father is Senzangakona. Then Shaga comes and puts them on the map. But to date, they say we are a nation of Mtania, not of Shaga. So that's the chapter on Afrogender. I've tried to break down the concept of, for an African woman, when we are an activist and we are fighting for equilibrium, how should you describe yourself in this world of labels? Other than saying I'm a feminist, you can say I'm an Afrogender woman. Then the whole chapter breaks it down. What are the concepts that come into Afrogender?
I would not hold myself. I would not hold myself on the Abanguni, particularly the Shaka Senzangakona story. That even some of I would call them, but politely, the seemingly educated Zulus who want to look like but the whole Zulu construct was started by a woman, as you say, for Senzangakona's mother. But look at Nandi, a single woman, a single estranged woman who was made pregnant by Senzangakona. It almost looks like in the next generation, they'd fall back again on the woman. And it is Nandi who becomes the mother of Shaka. And Nandi and Shaka literally put together what we now come to call the Zulu nation, consolidating various royal houses into one big house as we have it today. So even the Zulu nation itself cannot claim. I mean, I'll be happy to say lots about Nehanda, but in terms of our listing of celebrating women, we could then pick up a woman, also part of the subject, and go through your book slowly in terms of having those conversations. The liberation of Zimbabwe was led by a woman. She was beheaded by the British Empire. Her head, as we speak right now, is in the British Museum. They are refusing to return it back. Why? Because she represents such a vortex of energy for the whole country that without Nehanda, we cannot even talk about the great Zimbabwe itself. I thought I'd just add on that it is not a mistake that we are here together to correct, as it were, to realign the notion of women's liberation movements versus ukulungisa. And on ukulungisa, my last comment, on ukulungisa, if we can follow carefully what Dr. Shabalala has submitted, men come from war and the mediators must be cleansed, their weapons must be cleansed. Men did not come to war and run straight into their beds to sleep with their wives. No. They would come from war, sit at a river somewhere. Then the women would prepare the herbs with the healers. They would come to the riverside where the horns of cattle would be put on their backs to suck out the energy. We call that massaging and whatever in these days. But they would then put all those horns behind men to pull out the energy, because when you go to war, you become an animal. So they would have to rewire them all together and remove that energy before they can come back and sleep with their wives and make more children. Now, look at the danger which Africa has faced. And I say this at a very high level. And I want you to capture this part. And go, while you are doing this book of Ukulungisa, I want you to visit that section and beef it up. Is this not the problem why Africa is in the problem she is today? Our soldiers were fighting against colonization. They went to war. They killed. They butchered. And straight from war to their homes, to parliament, to government. Their weapons, their bodies, their spirits were never rehabilitated to humanity. And we wonder why our politicians and our systems are not running well. The concept of cleansing of the continent, the cleansing of countries, the cleansing of our spears and our swords, to speak to the land and remove the animalistic militancy. That's why maybe up to today we are still toy-toying in the same spirit of the struggle. Because maybe that spirit of war has not yet left us, as it were. So maybe this Ukulungisa, it could be looked also in a political sense. And while we are on that, we could even look at the dangers of not lungisering, sorry for the word, as it results in psychiatry, mental illnesses, and mental problems. When some of our soldiers to date, I can speak frankly about people that I know in Zimbabwe, military generals, who cannot sleep because every time they close their eyes, they see the people they killed at war. They are soaking themselves in whiskeys, in brandies, constant alcoholism and drugs and etc., just to block off the memory. And we seem like we have lost the science of how do we liberate. So while we are talking about women's day to day in terms of liberation, I would want to mention the role of women in stabilizing, in ukulungisa umphakathi, so that we stop living with animals that we think by putting them in jail, we have removed the problem, but their seeds are still outside on the street. And the same problem which is in jail constantly comes back again and again. So while we are talking about women's stories today, we really wish to zoom into their role in terms of societal well-being and societal health. I just thought I'd mention that, my honorable doctor.
No, thank you. It's actually very spot on, because it's in the book. The running thread in the book actually is that of healing, of reconciliation, which actually was the role of the woman. I make an example in the book, which I find very interesting, because like we've made an example ngamaZulu. I think the last thing that needs to be pointed out ngamaZulu is Umkabayi's father was Inkosi uNdaba, King Ndaba. Now, that's long before Shaka, because then there's Senzangakhona, then there's Shaka. But Umkabayi is a twin. Her twin was Mama, and then there was another girl. I always forget her name. You know, at that time, their father put them in charge of military battalions. When we talk of AmaZulu and we say Ebaqulusi, Abaqulusi was a battalion that Umkabayi commanded. Now you have to ask yourself, if that's how Ndaba was not a patriarchist, if Umkabayi could go and take a wife for him, if all of that happened and they called themselves Sizwe Sikampania, I always say there before and after. That was before what happened. What's the interregnum? Colonialism and religion. That's the interregnum. Look at the Hausa people. They're also in my book. There's a movie now actually on Netflix, Amina of Zazau. Zazau was one of the Hausa kingdoms. The Hausa people were never run as a central state. They were run as 13 interrelated autonomous nation states. That's the word I'm looking for. They were all started by 13 warrior queens. They were called the Khabe warrior queens. The Hausa people today are where when a woman is found in bed and they are married, they will be dragged to a square in Kaduna or Katsina or wherever, and they will be stoned in public. But they will never ask the question, who's the man? Because he might also be married, by the way. Now, if they've become this ruthlessly patriarchal, we can't see you cover your face. We can only see you through your eyes. You can't, because that's when Islam really becomes fundamentalist. You can't be seen in a public square. You need a man to affirm you to be outside. And it can even be a 10-year boy. That time you're 35 years old. What happened? If they were formed by 13 warrior queens, if we look at the movie Amina of Zazau, which is on Netflix, and how there was equilibrium in terms of gender, that was before what happened, the interregnum, again, religion. That's what happened. I mean, you talked of, is that not the problem? Our soldiers can't sleep. Have you ever thought of it even in this scale, Baba Mapong? Boko Haram are involved in military excursions against their own people. They are killing. They're rebels. It's a rebel group. They abduct and sleep with young girls, even in the process of that killing. The things these girls describe, the blood that's still on those soldiers as they force them into motherhood. Now you have to ask yourself, what do we need to do in northern Nigeria to cleanse that land? But can it even happen because northern Nigeria is Muslim ruthlessly through and through? So I think as we grapple with these topics, I like that you point us back to the actual reality, the ramifications of what happens, the actions of the things that we do. I have another one that I always make a point as an example. We talk of our parliaments. We're 54 African countries currently. In all 53 countries, it's either Islam or Christianity that's allowed to officiate over the opening of parliament. African spirituality is not even a discussion. In fact, I would dare say, in over 70% of African countries, African spirituality is equated to witchcraft. I go in the continent, I've been to 39 African countries now. I'll do Ivory Coast. I think it will be my 40th next month. When I say I'm in African spirituality, they come and they say, shh, don't say that out loud. And I say, why? They say, people will think you're a witch. I'm like, but I never said I'm in witchcraft. I said I'm in African spirituality. They say, no, yeah, those two things have become, they are one. We see them as one. And why do we do that? It's because when the colonialists came, they equated everything of ours as witchcraft. I'll make this last example, then I'll give it back to Winnie. I always ask Nabab Mapong, what is a witch doctor? I don't know that in Zulu or in Swati or in Xhosa or in Ndebele or in the African languages that I speak. In Zulu, a witch umthakati, a doctor inyanga. Now, I've never had a concept in a language of nyanga mthakati. You're either or. Either you're tata or you're lapa. Either you're healing or you're a witch. The two have never been married to become one. But they came and they taught us the concept. They say it's a witch doctor. And I say, right there, they were trying to tell us everything about you is witchcraft. We don't believe there's healing. We don't believe there's restitution. We don't believe in anything. There's no light there. It's just darkness. It's all witchcraft. I think I'll leave it at that. And just ask Winnie, maybe before we sign off, Oladele is online. Just give him a minute. I think we started the sales of the book drive, the pre-sales. He will tell us about where the links are and where the website is. I think I'll give it back to you, Winnie, at this.
Thank you so much. Maybe before we go to him, we can have Mama Bikira maybe comment on Ubulungisa. Is Mama Bikira
for the teachings? Yes. Yes. I was saying that it's so powerful, the knowledge that is, especially for young women. You know, my wish is that these teachings infiltrate in the spaces where young women are following the the goddesses of today, which are in the entertainment mostly industry, the women that nude of themselves to show how our land, our minds were captured by this very, or these parts of our bodies, which we were able to use to lure. And this is the same witchcraft that women lost and ended up being, or giving it away, a tool, a machine. You know, hearing also on the concept of ukulungisa, which is a powerful theme and a beautifully constructed different levels of teaching and bringing us back and us learning who we were historically, that Ugogo has highlighted. You know, women need to understand how very much connected they are with semantics, the secular, the circulation, the languages which the universe speaks, which shows even in the forming of our bodies. A woman becomes a mother, and the first thing we see in her is the shape shifting of her body, everything coming closer to the circles, the round breasts, the round hips, the round buttocks, because this on itself is a code system, is a language, it's a carrying, ikamba, you know, how even the waters, the rivers, the dams in all the parts of the earth are holes within Mother Earth herself, and les color layers or those openings become portals to carry water, just like our wombs become a portal to carry the child that we're bringing in. And this is always how we've healed the wounds. When Ugogo speaks of how the man needed to be integrated, there were women who were tantra priestesses. In the Western terms, now they call them the temple. I don't want to use the word prostitutes because it's completely out of our context. But these were the women who lived and stayed and took care or did the upkeeping of the temples, because this is where they would wait for those who would come with trauma, with harm, to reintegrate them, to balance them, to create the system of Ma'at. And also looking at how, as history went, the woman became a mystery on everything. She was treated the way she was treated because what is this? You know, when we hear, and Baba Maponga likes to say that witchcraft is this one or this thing using, because they couldn't understand how much power and capabilities and sciences and alchemies within this creation, whether she's human or animal, but in her female form, she's able to rectify, to heal, to bring life, to rebalance things within the people, the community, and the land. And when we hear concepts like the Bible, those who believe in the Bible, the stories of Adam and Eve, and how the snake is introduced, and in our language, Swati, women are called umfati, which also means snake, and how they liken us to this creature. But in its original form, the snake, just coming back to your topic on gender and gender equality, the snake has always been a mysterious creature. It's unknown. You can't look at a snake and think it's male or it's female. The snake is sneaky. It lives above the waters, above the earth, under the earth. Anywhere it wants to enter, it does. It's a mysterious creature, to a point where it's questioned why the creator or God created such a thing. And looking how our story as women follows even the snake story. Wherever you see a snake, we are taught to kill it, hit it on the head, hit the main power, which the I can say the brain power, because that's the most dangerous. Once a woman starts to put ideas together, once the woman starts manifesting the actual seed that the man plants, so it's always those spaces that are targeted. And the reason I was touching again to how our young girls today are in a lot of trouble, because they are replaying an era where the men, especially the foreign men, became obsessed with her body, with her shape. And here they are flaunting this thing all over this part of their body to show how captured she is, to show that through this entry, I mean, through this entry, a lot can be destroyed. Not just the woman herself, her body, her family, her father's pride, umsamo wasekhaya, the crowd, a lot of the destruction that has happened in eras and generations and centuries has been through the letting go of the very woman herself, of parts of herself that she was capable of using as a tool and machine to actually balance, to bring life, to procreate, and a whole lot of other things that we know about. So lastly, again, going on gender, when we see the semen, the story in biological terms, the semen, the ovary, when it comes together to procreate in lengonzo, or that system that man and woman goes into to procreate, it is only in that woman's machine, in her body, in her platform, that gender will be determined. It's only in the meeting inside the woman's body that the person who's coming, or the spirit who's coming through her, will be a certain gender. So we cannot even classify women as part of a gender. Equal to what? When she is the creator of whether we bring in a son or a daughter. When she is the first teacher and nurturer of the son, if it's a boy child, and it's through her that and what she excretes, whether in her breast milk or any other form, that this same boy child will gain masculinity and understand the type of human or role they're supposed to play in the family structure. So women play such neutral roles in a lot of things. Hence, we are water carriers. We release waters. We pray and depend on the waters most of the time when everything goes completely out. Even in our rituals anciently, they would always come back to the original form, which we are part of, which we release, which we carry, what we birth. And it's all these things that the explorers and discoverers and scientists and whatever of the time got to learn in their obsession of the Black woman, that they needed to completely turn upside down and form into something that it's not, because of fear of the woman, the fear of the snake woman, Inkanyamba, she that controls the undergrounds, the above grounds, the waters, the trees, she that has a spirit that is in all form, part of creation. And as much as they've given us or they've given up saying the world, Mother Earth, they call her Jaya now, they call her feminizing her. It's a step. I think it's a good step, that the realization of that the world and all the things that are created in it have always been feminine in their original form, and after that feminine state, they then become tributaries of different genders, which I can say the one gender, which is the male. So I just want lastly to say a very important statement that I always drive a lot of conversations with, which came from Mahatma Gandhi when he said, "Show me the state of your women, or show me your women, so I can see the state of your country or your land." And it's only through the brokenness of women that everything everything becomes unbalanced, whether politically or in economics or in the family or in the household. Just how the woman carries herself and how much less she thinks of herself. It's always been the two.
Wow. Thank
So
you
Winnie,
so
so
much.
Winnie,
So we-
sorry,
yes.
just two things quickly, so that our audience is not confused. There's biology, it's sex, it's not gender. There's gender, gender is a social construct, and because gender is a social construct, gender is not cast in stone. I'm glad my honorable Chidagwa is here, great friend from Zim, and I'm glad Baba Mabonga is here, and I'm sure there are other Zimbabweans online. Si Umwari, the Shona originator, is all genders, is all sexes in one, biology. When you go to Moari and you are going to war, you need protection. You say, oh, the breasted one when you approach Moari, because you are appealing to the kindness. You want them to be the mother for you and wish you to go to war and come back alive. If you are asking for something else that does not need the soft skills of life, you go to Moari as the father. That shows that it's gender. It's not cast in stone. I think what colonialism and Christianity and Islam came to do was to merge biology and gender into one and make it all biology and cast it in stone. It wasn't cast in stone. So in the book, I've called it a fleeting gender or a fluid gender. That's why in Nguni languages, and I have said I'm going to do my 40th African country, Ivory Coast. You ask any local you meet and you say, what do you call all the mothers on your father's side? Are they also like having a biological female connotation? Then I give an example like ours. In Zulu, babekazi. In Xhosa, udabawo. Basotho say ragadi. So you find all the women on your father's side are called father. All the women on your mother's side, all the men on your mother's side, abo malume, they are all mothers. So that's a gender. It's socially constructed. It's not biologically given, because there's no way you can call biologically a woman a man and a man a woman. But we did that. And Baba Mapong, even that on its own is a podcast. It's a 3-hour podcast because it's a concept and a philosophy. Utabao, your paternal aunt, Ragadi, or ubabekazi is a whole concept on its own. Their role spiritually in the lives of their brothers' children. In fact, in some cultures, when things went wrong, they would go to Ragadi and say, what are you doing to your brother's children? It means you're not standing in the gap enough. Same with Malume. Nothing happens without Umalume. The males on your mother's side, can you see the balance? We never espoused any family above the other, you know? So I think I was led to point that out. There's biology, and we did have biology. That's why we have umfana intombazana, ugogo umkhulu. That's not gender. Our gender was very fluid. And I think the second thing, Baba Mapongo said it and passed it. Concept yesangoma. Hey, it sits me off. I can't sleep at night when I see at the resurgence and the mass sweeping spirit in our nation where we are getting more male sangomas. Because isangoma in its origin is a seer into the spirit, is a prophet. It was a role of women because they are procreators, because they understood the spirit world. They could interact. That's why we have Ma'at. Uketiwe just talked about it. We could see the underworld and the overworld. We could reunite both worlds into one. So we mostly were seers. You see that role now being taken over by men. I mean, they even dared to fight over the title of Mjaji. the rainmakers. At the helm, it is always a woman, although referred to as Khosi, another example of a fleeting gender. Khosi is king. There are women in the throne. The English call them reign queens. No, they're actually reign kings, because in Silobedu, it's offensive to refer to them as queen. You refer to them as king. But the way we are seeing a resurgence of men taking over, this false African spirit that's sweeping through, the men were even fighting to take over that throne. And I was just like, what has happened to us? So I think I also needed to point that out, that I think it's good to always restore and synthesize and bring it to where we started, Winnie, until the African woman understands who they are and their role. And they shake the dust off their clothes and their faces, the dust that we've been reduced to, and preoccupy their status as the procreator, as divine, as the judge of the underworld, and the one that understands the overworld in which we are, as the one that unites it all, as the cleanser, as the bearer of culture, as the bearer of history, as the encyclopedia of the nation. Until we realize that, we are not going to get anywhere. It is women in the ANC who decided not to put Nkosazana Zuma in charge. They took Cyril's money and then they put Cyril in charge. After 100 years, that could have broken and made history. The ANC having a first female president. The women there themselves decided to take a man instead of a woman. So until we get decolonized, Ziyanda Gogo, ngiyakubona ukhona Gogo Skade, until we get decolonized mentally, women, and Baba Mapongo said it, and we stop wanting to be men, and we stop acting and behaving like men, until we realize who we are, and that the total liberation of Africa, this decolonization we are always talking about, it is in our womb. Until we realize that day, we will continue to fight generation after generation. So African women rise up. That's the message in Ubulungisa, deconstructing gender in African spirituality. Thank you, Winnie. And thank you, Baba Mapong, for allowing us to use your Facebook, to use your utensils, to be here today, to use your platforms.
Wow, thank you so much. Before we go to our parting shots, maybe we would have 1 minute just so we know how to get Ubulungisa, how we can get the book. We can have just 1 minute brief before we get to our parting shots.
Yes, Oladele is here. I think he can tell us about that.
Yeah, on Facebook, when you go talking and then you blank the whole screen, it's like there's nothing happening. People want to see your beautiful face also. Thank you.
Here's my beautiful face.
This is Facebook, not duck book. You know, people must see you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Go
greetings,
ahead,
my
please.
people. Yeah, greetings. My brother Maponga,
Greetings.
how are you doing, my brother? Mama Kanshile, thank you.
Thank you,
Winnie.
Ase.
Thank you, Winnie. Thank you, my sister Susan Tata. First time I'm meeting you, but I've followed your work for a long time. So it's good to have you all on board. And happy Mother's Day to all the ladies. Okay, a lot has been said anyways. I'm not going to add to it. So basically what we're trying to do is get Mama Kanshile's book out there on the shelves. We're self-publishing, obviously, because we know that if you go through the system, it basically takes most of the money from the publisher, and we want her to keep her work. So that's basically what we're doing, the drive to basically get the book out there. What we need right now is about $20,000. That's the basic cost to put the book out there. Once it's published, then obviously it gets cheaper. But to get the initial book out there, you know, we're looking to $20,000 at least. We're looking to publish about 1,000 copies initially. On the group chat, we posted the links onto the platform in terms of the perks that people can get. So we're looking for whatever you can. Anyway, it's not limited. The quicker you can get to 20,000, the better. You can check on our Imagine a Kebelan page. We've got everything on there. We got a website coming out soon as well. MamaKanshile.LT.com. That should be coming up soon. So basically, every perk, every platform, every what's the word I'm looking for? We've got the silver, we got the bronze, silver, gold, platinum perks are all there. So basically, if you can follow every one of those, whatever you can afford, please do it. The whole point is just to get the book out there. You heard what Mama Kanshile is saying. She's full of knowledge. She's got so much in her, and this book needs to be put on the shelves for everybody to read it. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I think Unduku's put all the thing on the screen. But if you come into our website, Imagine a Kebelan, we're hosting it there. We've bought everything on there. So yeah, I just need to reach out to every one of you individually. As Susan Tata, we need to reach out to you as well, my sister. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you,
you.
Oladele. And I think before Winnie takes it, it's good to talk about people when they are alive. My brother Oladele and my sister Nduku from Kenya, Oladele from Nigeria, although they are both not living there. One is in the US, one is in the UK, but Oladele is now visiting home. He's in Nigeria.
I'm in Nigeria right now. I'm home.
Yes. I appreciate what the two of them have done, because every platform I've spoken at Baba Mapongo, young people rush to me and they say, you need to write books, and I say, you need to go on this platform. And I say, I am a voice from the ancestors. I write. You do the admin, set this up, and I'll pitch up. They've been doing that for the last 10 years. I think these are the first two people who've really come up and said, this year, this book is out. Because it's been sitting and accumulating dust for the last 2 years. It was done 2 years ago. They said, we are committing, this book will be out. So I'm grateful to them. I'm grateful to Winnie. When she met me also, she said, if I meet like-minded people, we are going to make sure this book is out. And I think I want to commend you also about Mapongo. While you are alive, people at your position normally don't want to associate with people who are beginning, because angithi we have this culture of stars, of celebrities. So people at your level normally see themselves as celebrities. It's always for them, what's in it for me? And you have just said, oh, okay, I want to partner with this. I'll make this happen. And I will bring her to where I am also in terms of having followers and people knowing about my work. So, you know, you truly have lived the spirit of Ubuntu. Don't change. Live that until you meet your ancestors. So thank you so much. And thank you to everybody that tuned in. A blessed African Field Women's Day to every woman that is online.
We love you, African women. We love you so much. Thank you, Madam.
Honorable Chidakwa.
Honorable Chidakwa, thank you so much also for the good work you're doing in Zim.
Thank you so much, Pan-African. You are making Africa great, reshaping Africa, bring back Africa to its needs. Thank you so much for that. You're doing great work. Thank you also, Baba Maponga. There's a lot of knowledge that we are taking from him and also from Madame Kanyisile. Today I've learned a lot. I thought I knew things, but I realized that I'm far away from knowing. So I want to thank these two people for the knowledge that they have given us today, and we'll keep learning. And we're here to make it happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So I think now we will get our parting shots. I will start with Mama Bikira. Your parting shots.
Sorry, can you say that again, Coco?
Your parting shots. What do you want the African woman to know out there? Your parting shots to the young African woman who is coming up, who is trying to understand herself, who is growing up into womanhood and want to understand womanhood and is just struggling to find herself in the continent. What are your parting shots for such a woman?
Thank you. Speaking again on behalf of the loss of our identity, the loss of the continuous journey of women reawakening and taking their position for young women, young mothers out there, and the gap that we see between the mother, the young girl, and the baby girl. Let us try to find again in our clans, in our tribes, all the rites of passages, all the steps and stages, rituals that our children had to be taken under, especially the girl child, because it's through this that the learning and the understanding of who they are will come back as an ancestral memory. And everything that we are fighting, that is an enemy in us as African people awakening in its existence, whether it's industry, or even in the education system, which is failing us dismally. Let us know and not be naive to accept that there is actually solutions that we have been creating for ourselves, and that we have been sharing. I mean, the importance of ukwakha isibaya, the rebuilding of the kraals at home, the rebuilding of indlu kagogo, umsamo, the eco-village systems, the unschooling, the reimagined schooling for children, where they actually learn through the laws of nature what education is and how education should be. And also the importance of recapturing and rewriting, re-archiving, and especially for the publishing and the film sector and the music sector, which a lot of our young people are more succumbing to in terms of listening, to reintroduce the structures of rhythm, ingoma, like Ugogo explained about Isango, which all comes from sound, which all comes from the original healing of sound, which women would practice also as part of teaching. So there's so much of all these concepts that we can use as points or starting points to teach and save the girl child, because the fallen state of the girl child is our ultimate destruction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we will have our sister from the Pan-African studio. We are parting shots in Cameroon. Is she still here?
She's here, she's talking, but she's muted.
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry. I think I was.
She's talking, but she's muted. I'm trying to signal to her that we can't hear.
Hello, can you hear?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm very sorry. Just for correction, it's Pan-African Daily TV. So you can find us on Facebook and YouTube as well, Pan-African Daily TV. Currently in Cameroon. My pattern for women or for young women is actually the purpose why these books should be published. Because we can talk and talk and talk, but now we need the facts and data so that these books could be used as teachings. And most often when we talk to young girls, we just narrate the story. And I think because they're caught up in a lot of situations happening around them, and they never had the opportunity to be in the space where we are recreating or co-creating the narratives again. I am really lobbying that these books be published so that even when we speak out or teach, the books should be not only on the shelves, but also in the curriculums and in schools. That's what we should push for, not just only a matter of getting the book to read and gain knowledge, but also actually to get them on the curriculums of schools from kindergarten. So until then, we're going to push the narratives. Until then, we're going to raise our voices. Until then, we're going to be sleepless. Until then, we're going to role model them. Until then, we have to keep making a productive noise, what I said, a constructive noise, so that at each point or time in life, they have to hear us. The world is hearing us, whether they like it or not. It's unfortunate that time is over where others had to rebrand or tell our own stories. But from the space of the energy of our creator and our ancestors, I don't even think we like the author said, we owe it a credit to ourselves. It's just a time. It's just a time where my art is bringing into that balance, and we can see the traces of our history or the treacheries of our history actually falling apart. It's not even our making. It's just that each and every one of us is called in our role now from the ancestral knowledge to take up this role and to serve them through us. So I think it's a very noble thing. We should not be shy to speak it in every circumstances. I mean, starting even from our immediate families, that's where the challenge even, I remember even going through my biography, I struggled every day with my mother, with my sisters, with my siblings. In their prayer sessions, it's always Papa God, Papa God. And I always ask my mother, where's the mother God? Where's the God in your Papa God thing? It's always about Papa, Papa, Papa. So I think we have a good journey and the process which our ancestors has put us to it. We should actually be glorifying them and speak about it everywhere and anywhere I am, whether in the church, whether I meet them at their meeting space or in the taxi or anything. There's just no way we should keep quiet, because it's the work of our ancestors, and we're definitely very proud to be the chosen ones at this time to carry on this message to the next generation. So just like the author and our Miss Kibira is saying, Bikira is saying, they are representing the light now. So we should not be silent at no cost and point in time. Everywhere we find ourselves in any space, whether it's at a conference, whether it's at a meeting, whether we meet them in their own spaces, we should never be quiet. From our looks, where we put on our kinkies, to our cowries, to our, our philosophies, to how we represent even in that space where they are, it's already a communication enough that we should not be silent on. So
Wow.
I think we just all about the light. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then we will have Mama Kani to also give us your parting shots. And also, I think we have a comment here on, I was thinking the same thing, turning the book into storybooks for little ones as well. Because much of the time when we preach Pan-Africanism, I always insist on starting from the kindergarten, because the middle level and the upper, there's too much, the mind is too much corrupted. And for us, if you're to continue with the struggle, we need to start from down. And I think this is a very good point for us to, if we can turn the book, we can have animations, we can have book for the little ones, so that even the little child going down there grows up understanding. We can build the foundation from the start. We can start afresh. If it's gone and rotten to the top, we can always start afresh. So your parting shots and also your view on this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. This book can be used to run self-esteem empowerment for women. For instance, when my daughter was writing her exams last week and she was going to go and write maths, which she does not really like, but has to do as part of the curriculum, I actually used Njingambande. I said that woman lived for 85 years of her life, 75 of which she was engaged in a struggle against the Portuguese colonialists and slave raiders. She was 10 years old when she was forced into the fight against her kingdom and the Portuguese, encroaching Portuguese. She lost a kingdom, her heritage. She lost it. She lost Ndongo, and she had to restart a new kingdom. That's why we call her the Queen of Ndongo and Matamba. She had to restart a new one, and she built it by attacking the entourages of the Portuguese as they were driving slaves to the coast. She would attack those, free those slaves, and with that she rebuilt a new empire. She destabilized the Portuguese so much they never won against her. So you can use that book for that, for self-empowerment, for self-esteem. You can use it as a storybook for children, because each woman that is in the book, it tells the story of their lives, the feats they reached, the battles they fought, the spirituality that guided them. So it can be turned into anything. All I know is it will be a teaching tool and an education tool. So I am also for that idea. A parting shot, I don't want to be long, Winnie. We have been long on the call. I think my parting shot to African women really is what I said before. Can you rise up? Shake the dust off your clothes or your garments. Shake the dust off your face, wash your face, and re-look at yourself in the mirror with a new image. You are not the property of anybody. You are not the property of your father. You are not the property of your husband. You are not the property of your boss. You are not the property. You are not the property of anybody. You actually are the repository of the culture, of the spirituality, of the knowledge. For as long as you allow yourself to remain broken, we are going to be producing broken nations over and over again. So African women, I wish I had a whip. I would start from Nigeria to Namibia, from Morocco to Madagascar, from Cape to Cairo, and just whip this status of subservience from every one of you. And I'm not by saying that, say be equal. No, be restored is what we want. We are not fighting for equality. We are fighting for restoration, because when we are restored, the equilibrium just happens. So can we whip this colonial mentality out of you? You don't need to keep 10 men, a minister of telecommunications, the one that pays for your phone, a minister of entertainment, the one that takes you out on weekend and parades you to as a vase to their male counterparts, a minister of transport, the one that transports you. No, we were the providers. We controlled the land, so we controlled the market, so we controlled the economy. We are the providers. We've turned this, it's sitting on its head right now. The legs are on top, just fluffing around. So African women, shake the dust off. Look at yourself at the mirror with a new image. You are an African woman. You are not just any woman. You are an African woman. That's different. Thank you, Winnie.
Wow, thank you so much, Mama. We, the African women, need to rise up and dust ourselves and, and conquer the world, And finally, we are going to have our host, Maponga, with his parting shots. First of all, thank you so much for hosting us, Mr. Maponga, and for your, great support for the continent. And we look forward to your parting shots just now.
I think you'll get there by the time you learn to stop using Mr. Bishop. I see your tongue is tight. You can't help it. I mean, I rebuke you in the Bishop. And
so sorry, Maponga. Let me help her. In your own language that you speak Swahili, you can call him Mzee, please.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Mzee or Malimu,
Maponga.
whatever. It's still fine. I'll survive. I'll survive. But it has been a wonderful, wonderful moment that we have spent together. My many gratitude to all my co-hosts. And I'm a host, but it looks like you were the one. I was hosting in terms of the home, but I ended up also being hosted by yourself. So many thank yous to Winnie there. Dr. Shabalala, well, thumbs up. I think this is just the beginning. It's not a farewell. And as a responsible African man, I don't do one-night stands. We have to meet again and again and again and again until this child is born. And when they are born, I will be there to make sure that they are grown up and etc. I want to see this child we are making today getting married and having children and children. This can grow itself, and if it is given enough care. And I'm glad in the hands of 4 responsible women like yourselves who will not have a stillbirth. Thank you, Dr. Susan, for always being there. Your dream is not lost. It keeps on resurfacing in different spaces, and I think ultimately is getting those voices out there. And I've been able to take all your pages and I've pinned them up on my page also, but I will have failed if I don't thank Madame, who helped us to put the program together in terms of setting up, and the other people who were behind the scenes there, making sure that this program runs smoothly. But of all gratitude also goes to our 12,000 viewers who have been sitting with us here in various spaces. Others popped in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Others have been sitting with us here for a long time, but our impact I think we've been able to reach out more than 12,000 people as we are sitting here. And I want to say my biggest thank you to all the viewers and supporters of Farmers of Thought in wherever you are. Thank you very much. This is your page, your space of learning. We have a challenge that is on our table, and I just want to throw it out there. With the 12,000 people that we have, if we can just put $1 each, just $1 each, we can actually be able to publish this book, even as a contribution from Farmers of Thought also. I don't know how best I'm going to do this. I might have to get some details from yourself and put a page on my page directly to yourself. I would not want to be involved in the logistics of managing, and it becomes crazy. I can't even be able to finish reading my inboxes. It's more than 5, 6, 7,000 people there, and I will have added more fuel to failure. But if your office, your back office, if they can design something, the title of the book, the cover of the book, the donations that you are looking for, and the place where we can all put our $1. I will also put my $1. And I will challenge all the people from Farmers of Thought to put their $1 each. If you have more, even better. And with those few remarks, I want to stop by saying, do not be afraid of spirituality. You cannot be an African and you are afraid of the word spirituality, because many of you consider spirituality, spiriticism, spirits, and what and what. I want you to just break that word into two: spirit and ritual. Spirit, ritual. That makes the word spiritual. Therefore, don't take it from me, don't take it from the church, don't take it from the imam. Find the rituals that you must do. And those rituals are the food for your spirit. Then you are a spiritual person. Whether it means walking in the garden, whether it means planting a tree, whether it means drawing water, but find those rituals. We go to church because that is the ritual. We eat the flesh of Jesus and drink his blood because that is the ritual, you know. But if you can just unpack and just your fear for the concept of spiritual, you may find that actually as Africans, we are spiritual. Everything that we do is a ritual. Eating, drinking, sleeping, plowing, cutting trees, harvesting herbs, building houses, killing cattle, playing music, dancing, making beads, painting walls. Everything is a ritual. So I don't understand why, as Africans, we must be afraid of spiritual. As if when you are spiritual, you become demonic. When in fact, the whole Christian space, from your camp meetings to your Dorcas mothers, to your women's organizations, to your everything you're doing in church, your offerings. Offerings are rituals. Rituals that are helping you to bribe God so that you go to heaven also and you don't burn in hell. See, baptism is a ritual. Everything you're doing in the church is a ritual. So maybe in conclusion, I just want to say, when we do this subject, we want to open up the windows of thinking and opening up the space of comprehension that you are not a demon by doing spiritual stuff, because it's those rituals that feed into your spirit. And when the ritual feeds into your spirit, then you are a spiritual person. With those few words, I thank you. Asante sana.
Asanteni sana, asanteni sana, nashukuru sana. Asanteni sana to our viewers. Thank you so much from Nairobi. Thank you so much, Mwalimu Maponga. Tunakushukuru sana for taking your time to be with us. Mama Kanya, asante sana for the wonderful book, and we look forward to this book reaching even the youngest of persons in the continent. Thank you so much, Mama Bikira, for your good work. We thank you for taking your time, even with the 5 minutes. I think we gave you only 5 minutes. Notice the extent, but you are here with us. We thank you, Mama, for the good Pan-African work you're doing to make sure that information gets to the continent. Asanteni sana, all those who joined us, the 12,000 viewers, we thank you so much. And remain Winnie Mandela.
We're on 14,000 now. It is growing fast.
14,000. Thank you so much. Our 14,000 viewers. Like, share, and ensure that the information gets to as many as possible. I remain Winnie Mandela, the president of Pan-African Movement, Kenya. And I say bye-bye and happy Mother's
While
Day.
you're saying bye-bye, every
We
one of you
say
watch these
Kama,
videos.
Winnie.
Yes,
We
Kama.
actually say Thokoza because the
Every one of
knowledge
you
is
guys who is
not
watching,
ours.
I want to challenge you and say, take up this video and put it on your page. Publish this information. I don't want to claim any copyrights of this thing. Download it on your page. Cut it into pieces that you want. Create your own YouTube channels. Share the information. Me, in my world, I'm not a greedy person who is trying to commercialize these things and trying to make some money out of you. So download the video, cut and paste, just be responsible while you're doing that, and also tag the people that are participating, but make this part of your profile pictures, and let's flood out the media social space with useful, constructive, educative, progressive African information. I thank you.
Thokoza.
Peace.
Chidakwa,
Yes, my brother, how are you?
you need this team in Zimbabwe. I must organize a women's conference. I need all of them in Zimbabwe.
We'll do that. We'll do that. I'll meet you in Zimbabwe. I'll connect with you, my brother. Don't worry.
Gogo Amelia is here. Gogo is here. Gogo, I didn't see you. Where you been hiding?
I've not been hiding. I was just listening. I just
Oh.
been fed with so much knowledge. Oh my word.
Oh.
Overwhelmed with
That
knowledge.
is one of our grandmothers there in London, and brings you greetings there. But anyway,
Thokoza.
on the next one, I'll loop you in. She's also a wealth of information. I think there's lots to learn. But anyway, it has been very, very useful to have all of you here.
Thank
Thokozani.
you.
Thank
Thokozani,
you.
siyabonga.
Siyathokoza.
Siyathokoza.
I can now give over the ropes to our administrators at the back there.
Yes.
Okay, now you can leave the meeting. You can plug on the far right corner there. There's a place to